So this class starts working on our postural awareness, okay? So let's, uh-oh, lost you guys. Hold on 1 second, please. Where'd you guys go? Back to meeting. No. Zoom likes to play tricks on me. There we go. All right, everyone all set? Everyone can hear me good? You got me spotlighted for you guys. There we go. So let's start standing, guys. It starts in Tadasana, which means postural practice in yoga. So feet about hips width distance. You really want to set your feet up parallel. So you got to kind of look down. Where are you setting your feet up? Start that conscious aware body, okay? I kind of lift my toes, my heels, wiggle my toes, and you want to put the feet down in a much more conscious way. Equal weight distribution, okay? Run a little active energy up the legs, your butt a little bit, a little lift in the core, maybe rolling your shoulders back and down, even shaking them out. Lift the back of the neck and the crown, and you stand with integrity, but you're also relaxed. Then you breathe. Okay, nice, deep, slow inhale. And there's our foundations of body structure, inner awareness. And breathe with the full body, right? As you inhale, start it, feel it cut from the feet. Rising up through the legs, the spine, into the crown of the head. At the top of the inhale there, you feel that lift through the body. And then you exhale, it's kind of the opposite, from the crown down through the feet. It's called like grounding, they call it, where you're letting some certain energies kind of go into the earth and other energies come into you. Okay, in yoga, right, the ancients, even the moderns, they agree it's like the electrical body, grounding, earthing, keeping a healthy electrical body, really important for healthy cells, blood, energy, an electromagnetic body. It's big now. People are talking about the EMS, right? So the electrical or magnetic pollution imbalancing us, okay? So take your time, guys. This class starts in the walking plane, so all the foundations. As my right knee lifts, my right arm goes back. It's marching in place, okay? Notice my arms are bent. I'm just giving some of the basics out. We're just kind of getting right into it. So in a sense, it's walking. You can walk a little forward. It's basically taking the path of walking through a much more active. So as my right knee lifts, my left knee lifts, my left arm goes back. So sometimes people get into this thing. My right knee and right arm go up, my left knee and left arm. It's actually the opposite. As my right knee lifts, my right arm goes back. Try to feel the shoulders just as much as the legs, okay? And try to do it with intention, skill. Last few yogis. And other times we do this like, you can kind of walk and go like this, right? So it's very similar there, just kind of doing like a high knee. Good strong hip flexion, extension, good shoulder arm flexion and extension. It's a really good one. Now widen your feet. We're just kind of loosening up here. You guys know these exercises. We're bringing it back to some foundations. Shake it out here, loosen it up. I like to even bend the knees a little bit. You kind of be personal and creative here. See, this, I started kind of like this, and then it's a little bit more like this, and then it's even more like, even into a lunge a little bit, bending the knees a little bit more, even twisting up a little bit, right? So, play with it a little bit. Yeah, just loosen up that twisting, rotational, what we call in the myofascial is that spiral line, okay? Now, our next warm-up movement to kind of get that body going is to widen our feet again, and we start in the lateral tilt. If you have to pick a few movements, hard to beat these, right? So see that lateral tilt, but then it's big circle. Now, what I see a lot, guys, is this. Right, back, left, no forward. I want right, back, left, forward. So, sometimes people don't go into extension, right? Front body's tight, back body's weak. So we're here. I need that full thing. You can bend your knees a little, okay? And then you're gonna kind of reverse. Yeah, so fundamental moving exercises for about the first 10 to 15 minutes. Then a little bit more kind of like fundamental still holds. You didn't always mix, but, and then it's a little bit more like stretching and release, okay? So when you're done there, guys, air squatting. So feet about hips width distance, maybe slightly turned out. Just to be clear that feet hips width distance parallel is a very different squat than feet turned open and out wider. It's different. You don't always do it the same, guys. This is also very different. Just like this is very different, but they're all the type of squat. So what could we do? Start maybe in the middle space. Kind of inhale into our bent knee. Knees stay open. Exhale, squeeze your butt, pull your arms back. Inhale. Exhale. Let's do our squatting, okay? Really good for those legs and back and core. Now, maybe you widen your feet for a few and open your feet a little bit. But don't let the knees buckle in. You see how my knees go kind of out over the feet, right? You could even kind of widen your feet more. So we're gonna have a little bit more freedom today, okay? Let's get that body energizing and moving. You could even go in here, feet together. That's quad squat, knees together. And do that whole, we even do this one, right? But that's not really gentle, okay? So here. Last few, guys. Yeah, you want to feel heat, right? You want to start to be like, whew, I'm feeling the warmth now, okay? Starting to sweat a little bit maybe, okay? So take your time. We're going to come back up to standing. You're going to shake it out. And then we're going to do that side, big side movement. We'll do the step over today if you can. Right foot outside left, in front across, right arm up and over. This is a big one, guys, okay? But I want you to move. You're welcome to hold, but Tadasana, neutral, left foot over, left arm up. Okay, come back to center. Ribs in. I immediately kind of try to stand up taller, right? You know, it can be more moving, it can be slower and holding. They're both good. I'll let you decide today. As long as you're getting into your side body a little bit deeper. You're doing what I'm asking, right? Now, we're going to take this first big asymmetrical legs, even though we already did some asymmetrical legs, the legs are going to just pivot more. So we're going to stand up and step our left foot to the back of our mat. We're going to hold that lunge. Okay, so big in the back of the toes here. You know, you feel the back toes stretch. And before we did this, and we did this, and now we kind of combine. Exhale, pull my right arm back, push my left arm forward, inhale. Okay, so feel it like it's energy work, yogis, like you're flowing and breathing. You can pivot the back heel even down, okay, and you're kind of just twisting from your core. You see how it's feet, legs, abs and back, arms, neck, full body, okay? It doesn't have to be exact. Look at my front leg actually straightened a little bit. See that? Ooh, then it bended. See that? I'm just kind of being an artist in movement. You know, it's almost like dance, right? Like a lot of teachers mix dance and yoga, and there is both of those elements, right? You know, what's the difference between vinyasa and dance? Not much, really, right? But discipline, maybe, right? Discipline might be the difference in there, because you know, dance like ballet, and they can all have a lot of discipline, though, right? So let's slowly step our foot forward, guys. Shake it out. And I'm just kind of shaking it out in the wrists. Somewhere where we have it, rolling the shoulders out a little bit, even circling. All stuff we sometimes do together, but just kind of cueing as an in-between today, okay? When you're ready, right foot back. And instead of just holding those arms up today, we're gonna do that in tree instead. Right hand forward, exhale. Inhale to give you some structure, left arm forward. All right, so just get into that, another 30 seconds or so. Close your eyes if you can. Have an experience with the breath and the body and movement, moving in full, complex, fun, creative ways. Even though we're working, yogis, make it light, right? So have you an easy lunch. There's not much weight in the body. It's just kind of like, let's rejuvenate through that movement. Literally get blood flow everywhere. Sometimes life gets so repetitive and linear. We want to kind of break up some of those patterns that our movement repetitive in life is creating. So in a sense, yoga class is to kind of balance out normal life, okay? So I want to bring it back into a big symmetrical thing now. So this is gonna be one of our last standing big movements, okay? Now this is gonna do a hip hinge into forward bend, up and down. So it starts with feet hips width distance, parallel. This is something I want us to practice regularly. In a sense, it's skillful bending over. So we did some squat work. Now it's the other part here. Belly in, shoulders back and down, weight and toes, bend knees. Inhale, hinge forward. Exhale, I do want you to stand up and squeeze your butt. So it's almost like a cat-cow. Look, this is more like the cow, the cat. This is more like the cow. Cat, cow, in a sense, right? So you hinge forward, wait into your big toe more, feel that tension, stand up, lift your abdomen and squeeze your butt, okay? Inhale, exhale. So it is very active, this part, where we're just kind of bending over at the waist and back up. Anterior tilting, posterior tilting. So guys, again, as you inhale forward, your back goes more like that. As you stand up, your back does go more like that, right? So I want that. Up and away, tailbone forward. Okay? Weight and toes as I go forward a little bit more. Last few. And as you really tense that line, you would stand up, and then you can reach your arms up. We'll do that Surya Kriya, where you go down here. Okay? And now it's like big inhale, a little bit more stretch and water-like, fluid flow, up, down. Now the modified version, guys, is kind of on your knees, up, down, up, down, okay? Or even easier is like here. So, there's always ways to do it. The goal is to kind of get the head high up and then move the head low, kind of move the blood up and down the trunk and torso of the body. Ancient practice here, used in many types of exercise, in the Qigong and Tai Chi. It's used in the Kabbalah exercises. It's used in the, obviously, yoga, right? The Tantra lineage, which is completely different than the yoga lineage, really. Up and down, right? Up and down with that body. All right, guys. So listen, you're going to stand up. We're not going to hold that stretch just yet. First position, okay? Nice, good, about 15-minute warm up there in our movements. Now just stand still and meditate for a moment. Come back to your breath work. Tree pose, the foundations, okay? Hands can start on hips, left foot on your right shin, arms maybe go up. Try to lift up, guys, okay? Try to have equal weight in all parts of the feet. Notice I lift my toes for a moment, then I put the toes back down. Feel a little bit of weight in the toes, but I'm not overstraining. Lift the side bodies, but relax the traps a little bit. If you like challenge, you can start to gaze upward. So as we look in different places, you will find a lot more challenge. Remember, yogis, that balance, it's its own kind of whole thing with an exercise. If you want a strong core, you have to do balance. You can't just do crunches and exercises that compress and contract. You have to you have to have that like tonic style of core work, which is like this just stabilizing and adapting work. Okay. And really, you find that in core and balance. Okay. Now, with minimal changing, you could keep your arms up for extra shoulder strength, just switch sides. Basically, once your hip feels burning and challenging your back and hip, you want to stay there for a few extra breaths or, counts. And that's different for everyone. I can hold tree really long some days with minimal strain. And then some days, the hips just aren't there as much. So if you need to hold a little longer for your body today, don't let me set your pace. Okay. And some of you might need to drop out earlier, right? Practice must be personal to some degree. Nice, Leslie. She's using her balance board. Yeah. I had a private yoga session the other day, and luckily she's got like bands now. I sent her like this list of equipment. She bought like everything, and we're using bands on the balance board in like yoga class, and add those things in if you got them, right? I would show you. I don't know where mine. We have two of them. I don't know where either of them is, but I would show you if I had it handy somewhere. It's a little wobble board you stand on, right? All right, guys. So listen, let's stand up, shake it out here. And our final balance, I want to come back to the basics. If you're looking for your two basic balances, it is the 2 foot and the 1 foot. There's our 1 foot. And now the 2 foot combined with our two kind of neural types, eyes open and eyes closed. So right foot in front of left. You guys know the drill here, hands in prayer, a little bit easier. Try to stand up tall. Now here's the deal. Everyone's got to close their eyes. So that's the 2 foot. It starts with just feet wider. So like I mentioned, you learn this method, and how do you teach us to be safe as possible? It's just wide stance, bent knees. Oh, you can close your eyes there, easy. You step your right foot to the left a little, but your feet are still forward and back, right? From the side, I'm like this. And then you go here, and then you go here, and then I'm here. So legs more straight, hands in more to eventually. And your eyes are closed. That's the whole thing, okay? So we're in our final kind of standing moment here. And then after you take a good 30, 40 seconds, your body falls out a few times. You almost feel like you're going to fall, but you adjust and adapt. Then back to the second side. So left foot in front of right. So if you always do wobble board, right, I'd also suggest doing it on the floor. You do wobble board, what they call like defensive and assertive. So, the wobble board eventually is going to you're going to try not to let the edges touch first, right? So then you can hold without the edges touching, micro control. But then it's more like assertive practice. So you touch the front edge of your wobble board down, then you touch the back, then you touch the front, then you touch the right side, then you touch the left side, and then you roll it around intentionally, the sides down, right? So nice, Leslie. And you do it on 2 feet and on 1 foot, right? So, if anyone ever wants to do a class like that, I'd love to. I use a lot of bands in my practice on my thighs and for my shoulders, both with handles and non-handles. I like to step on a band with my right foot and kind of pull up and away. I like to have it against the door handle and I kind of twist like this. I'd love to do a class like that with you, guys, but I don't know if everyone has that. Maybe I'll send out an email, give you about a month, and then we can do one on one Saturday or Sunday. Okay? So let's stand up. I'm going off on a tangent here, okay? So let's step to the front of our mat. And now we're going to take that nice stretch you want. So blocks could be out in front of you. Widen your feet. You might want to kind of, again, shake your shoulders out. If you want a little neck circle. Those are little things I hopefully you're throwing in there. But I'll just remind you, just kind of loosening up your neck after having your arms up twice and kind of shaking it out in the neck, okay? We eventually will meet with our feet wide, hands on our hips, and then we're gonna reach for the floor. Maybe taking it down here, maybe a big posture here or here, but meeting here, it seems like a simple pose, guys, but it is quite big, strain fall on the back. So take a moment, shake it out, breathe. Okay, now take your time. We're gonna eventually plant the hands, a little movement in between. Gotta do the cat-cow, right? Even though we try to do it standing, most of us, I don't think, are gonna get that kind of movement through the core. So I do wanna take you here, if you will, inhale, arch, and round. And it's hollow chest, hollow front, hollow back. Arch, round, whatever you want to call it, back bend, forward bend. You know, make sure you're involving your pelvis, make sure you're including the neck, not just the middle body, and then eventually you can draw circles and feel it out. Okay, and then we'll, at our pace, take it through down dog for a few breaths. Not many better postures to stretch out those ankles, feet, and calves, all in one moment here while stretching out our lower back, hamstrings, underarms. Try to press the thumb, index finger down. I like to kind of bend and straighten opposite heels, legs. So you press your inner right heel down, lift your left heel, kind of stretch the big toe, and then you kind of switch. And what I'll do is actually keep legs straight, lift both heels high, press both heels down, and then keeping my heels down as much as possible, also and then straighten the knees. Move my hips a little side to side, just some, you know, thinking out loud here. You know, take a big inhale, flutter the lips on the exhale, vibrates the face, maybe even deep exhale. You know, you can tell some days your body's trying to detox more. If you tongue scrape every day and oil pull, the body has more phlegm some days. It has more darker phlegm. It has more congestion, dust. And, you know, the days like that, you want to more of these deep mouth exhales. If the body's trying to cleanse and detox, and you can tell, assist it, okay? We'll bring it down to the knees, guys. If you want one quick plank here, we'll do that now. I'll bring you down to the forearms. Okay, I like to include at least one of these here, guys. And look at that, hips about as high as the shoulders. It's just a more of a meditative plank. You're more than welcome to do full plank if you want, you know, or any other variation, side planks, push-ups. Let's take a few breaths here. If it's too much, hold child pose or lay on your chest. Just notice I'm kind of spreading my back a little bit, so I'm not like heavy and low here. Just kind of lifting up there, making sure it's in the muscles. Good to bear some weight on those joints and bones, muscles every day, right? So good way to find that gentle yoga plank here. Okay, no rush, guys. We're gonna bring it down to the chest. Think of it like a vinyasa. We came from dog to plank. Now we're down here on the chest. And I do want to do that active form here. So we'll take our gentle active cobra, lengthening through the spine, hug the elbows in, slide the hands more near your lower ribs. The hands are there, but they're not really doing much work yet. Okay, I point those toes. Learn to activate your legs here more, guys. Lift that chest, pull the navel in, lengthen the neck, and lower down to about 3/4, 90%. Lift up again. I'm barely lifting. I'm not overstraining. Okay, I do feel my lower back tighten here, with not too much strain through the upper neck, back, or anything like that, all right? So a few more. Yogis, you gotta one day have that epiphany, like, oh yeah, I have to activate my legs more in Cobra, okay? And then it's just like another epiphany. I have to activate my whole back more, connected. Activate your back and back bends. Remember that simple sentence. Anytime our body extends, hips, The back line muscles have to engage. Okay? And then if you want to hold one last round, you lift the chest. Now you see if you can even hover the hands an inch. You're more than welcome to reach your arms wide or down by your sides. And if you feel really good, lightly lift the legs. Doesn't have to be a lot, but just trying to really find a full active activation of the back. So you feel your butt, your hamstrings now turn on more, maybe your upper back turn on more because the weight of the legs requires that tension contraction. All right, so you take a little lift on that inhale, and then you take a little breather on the exhale. Your windshield wipe to release. And just a quick variation of the fundamental stretch we always do. You know, but guys, this is when you got to be doing regularly. So I got to make sure you're doing it. Right arm out, push to the left hand, roll to your right side. My right ear comes down. So you are on your chest if you're confused, with your right arm out, rolling to your right. Close your eyes, take another deep breath or two. You know, you're welcome to hold longer. We'll come back to center and we'll switch sides. So left arm out. Some days I hold the stretch for a long time, yin pose. Some days I'm in and out. Some days I'm moving side to side. Do your thing. You want to hold longer? That's cool today. You want to move side to side? That also is good some days. You hear it all the time, you know, yoga practitioners and students saying, is this right or wrong? And you hear yoga teachers saying, no, that's wrong, this is right. That whole idea, I think, is wrong to me. You know, there's always a purpose and a place for all the ways our body is designed to move. Oh, your body can move that way, but don't ever. That is a very interesting approach to body maintenance and conditioning and development. You know, when you think of a youthful body, it can move freely in a lot of ways, right? So we don't want to get like rigid in our mind and then that rigid mind, you know, goes through the body. Keep an open mind to how we approach, right? And so we're going to come back to center, and now we hit child pose, guys. So I'm not going to hold you long here, but a few breaths would be good. Think of it like a squat. We didn't hold yoga squat. You're bringing that butt to the heels. Now getting those ankles compressed for the first time with weight. You're more than welcome to do, you know, elbows on blocks or fingertips lift, more active in the underarms. You're more than welcome to walk hands over to a side or thread the needle. All variations here. I'll let you decide. Another good 30, 45 seconds in child pose. Just come back to breath work, a little bit more subtle, right? A big stretch followed the big activation, the gentle cobra, and then the hold, the plank, just giving you a moment in a softer pose. If you're doing something on one side, please start your second side. And then I do want to do our weight-bearing wrist work. What I like about weight-bearing stretching, guys, is that it will cause a little bit of engagement. So it will cause you to, you know, get a little stronger as we kind of open up areas. So we're going to rise up to our tabletop. You're going to loosen it up. And a little wrist stretch here. I widen the knees. Let's go right for the big one. Back of the hand down, palm face up. All right, you know, when my wrist hurts, it's hard to beat this, okay? I straighten my right arm, roll the crease of my right arm forward, and then I breathe here. I lean a little bit back and forward. Hold that a little bit extra today, okay? We got all regulars today, guys, and this is a needed stretch. You're doing a lot of yoga. You're in this kind of what we call hyperextension range, but you're in this flexion. So we're always kind of like that. So we're stretching like that. You know, we're in hyperflexion now, action, right? So it's kind of like the opposite, really needed by you guys doing a lot of yoga, okay? Notice I do roll the crease of my elbow forward. You see that? lateral rotation from the shoulder, the humerus bone, the upper arm bone. Yeah, okay. Shake that wrist out, wiggle those fingers, roll out your wrist, okay? Second side, left hand down. Some of you are doing both sides, no worries. I'm just teaching one at a time. Helps us kind of release, relax into it. Okay, a couple more breaths, please. I was thinking about doing a special class, guys. I wanted to just show you quick because wrist rehab is big. You know, wrist can be a limiting factor in our exercise. And I was thinking about doing a class. Now, I'm just using the household broom that our new dog has like basically destroyed. She has a special, you know, vendetta for our broom here. So we do this like wrist rehab training I've never taught in class, where we do this stuff for the wrist with a little bit of weight, just a household item. And I was thinking about teaching a class maybe on a Sunday. We could do this in 20 minutes called like wrist rehab class, where we're using something around the house, a can of tomato sauce to create some strength in the front wrist and the back, and then a broom to get pronation, supination, and ulnar deviation, radial deviation, and ulnar deviation. So let me know what you think of that in an email, because a lot of those things I don't take time for in class. So let's shake our wrist out, because really wrist rehab, guys, goes a lot further than just, you know, stretching it and bearing weight. There's a lot of things difficult to do without a little extra kind of equipment. So I think we're going to do that one of these Sundays. Who knows, maybe even tomorrow if you guys are up for it. We'll go about 20 minutes after. Let's think about that. All right, so listen, guys, sit back here. I want to do our biggest side body stretch hold. All right, so we're going to sit back on our heels. I want you to think big side body. Now, what I'm going to do is scooch my hips left, so my right sit bone is on my right heel. Now, why this is so big is because it's dipped in lateral tilt. So my left hip drops down. See my left hip bone way lower than my right. Now the left arm goes up, my right hand is here. They call that like the double traction. So this is pulling down as this pulls up. Spiral my chest up, lengthen my right side body too, relax my shoulders so don't get in this habit. 3 more breaths, guys, not a long hold. Okay, I don't want you to hold that too long. It's huge, all right? Deepest lower back muscle, you can probably already feel it, right? So I move forward to get back on my heels, and then I go left. This is basically the biggest stretch we've done so far, okay? Right arm goes up and over. Right, I've had you guys do this like standing too, where we kind of go like this. We'll drop the hip down, but I go up away from it. Usually it's not really a gentle yoga pose, to be honest, right? I do mix it in sometimes, but it's unique because we don't really do a triangle here either. We did this earlier, we did this earlier, and now we're in a sense putting those two things together, okay? So it's a big stretch, but just to be, you know, I mean, it seems subtle, but it's good to remember that this is a big one, okay? We'll come back to center, we'll shake that out. Now, I do want you to loosen up your lower back after that. That's the biggest side stretch, okay? And I want to do one more stretch here today, guys. We did the lunge hold and the high lunge. I want you to grab blocks if you have it. We're going to go right foot forward between the hands, okay? Now, this is 2 parts, and I'm going to challenge you to pick one today. Notice my left knee, yogis, it's not underneath my hips. You see how I crawl that left knee back? And what I'm going to do is move here now. I'm going to inhale forward, lift the chest, and drop my hips down. And then I'm going to exhale back and straighten my front leg, okay? Inhale here, exhale here. So the double traction of the lateral body is a really big psoas stretch, and so is this. So these two kind of go together, right? Now, if we're doing psoas line, I have a double jeopardy question. You know, when the special question comes up, if we just did double psoas traction in the lateral core, and now we're doing frontal asymmetrical psoas, what would be the last part? If anyone can answer that, I will give you a free private yoga lesson on Zoom easily, okay? Type it in the chat if you want to take a guess. We're going to do this stretch. If you can tell me what's next in the trifecta, what would be the stretch? You can even just say the line or the muscle. I will be so proud and happy that you've learned that through class. Now, what I want you to do before we switch sides is kind of pick one. Maybe you noticed you needed it here a little bit more for that front left hip flexor, right glute. Or maybe you noticed you needed it here. Because really we did both of those stretches already, okay? So I think I need this a little bit more. So we have no guesses on our next trifecta stretch? It's adductor magnus, right? So inner thigh, that's the bottom of the line. So your psoas major connects to the sides of your spine in the back, and we side bent it and pulled it up and away, and then we're pulling that femur bone back, and then we go inner thighs down to the inner knee, right? So that was the answer for that question, okay? So we're gonna do our second side here, guys. Nice job. Shake it out, neutralize it. A big movement would be that same thing. Just double leg if you wanted it. Left foot goes forward, right knee walks back. Chest goes up, hips go forward and down. Chest comes down, hips go back and up more. Left knee bends deep. Left leg straightens more, foot flexes more. Big toe down, chest lift. And you got about a minute and a half there to kind of move forward and back and then hold a little bit of it. We do both. I'm trying to challenge you to listen to your body, to give you a little space to work in, but then to personalize it. I have to give you opportunities to personalize. I got to get out of your way. All right? So just to be clear of what I was talking about, we have this big muscle. It's called the psoas major, and there's psoas minor. Those two run. You know, some people don't have a psoas minor, right? We also have this iliacus muscle, big inner muscle, and they will all link down. So psoas connects to inner spine. So hold a position maybe eventually. Last few breaths. We have this big iliacus on the inner ilium, so big hip bone, and then connecting to the inner spine. And these two muscles are really deep, and they go down in here to the inner leg bone, femur. And it's the only muscle that connects your spine directly to your leg. And then right there is the start of a muscle called the adductor, so inner groin. So what we did is we did this, kind of stretching here, and then we did this, right? And next we're gonna do this. So that muscle kind of, in a sense, all connects down through here. All right, so that's called like the deep line in some circles. Psoas major, iliacus to adductor magnus. It is the muscle names, okay? So, you know, it looks like some of these are done. You know, you're doing your thing, no worries. And what would we do? We'd bring it back to symmetry, right? So we would neutralize by cat-cowing it or going here. And then we would sit on our butt, and the simple, gentle way is the butterfly konasana. Our soles of the feet would go together. Chest would lift. As a reminder, the more I bring my feet forward, the more this is like a back stretch. It's less hips and like inner thighs and less restricted for me. And if I bring my heels up closer to my hips, it's like a completely different stretch. So it's good to just notice that. And sometimes you do it in the middle. Sometimes your hips are really close to your heels. Sometimes they're far, right? I push the knees open a little bit. I pull on the feet, lift the chest, and I forward fold. All right. And then I just try to relax into it, guys. If you wanted to do like frog posture or straddle, those are other variations that can work here, okay? So the last few postures, very forward and back. Some of us forward bent, some of us back bent more. So what would we do? We're very rounded here with the abducted, the thighs are spreading. So we would counter it with the abduction, extension, and rotation. The adduction, excuse me, okay? Let's sit up, shake it out here, guys. So we're gonna do that seated spinal twist today. It is a big stretch, be easy, okay? So now, like I said, my legs were wide, I wanna cross them. So my right heel goes outside my left knee. Big opposites, right? And then our spine was rounded going forward. So what do we wanna do? We wanna lift the chest, almost back bend slightly. And then from there, twist with our core, our chest to the right. My left arm can sweep around that knee, root your sit bones down, lift and twist. So again, it's spinal extension. So think spinal back bend, and then twist from there. Okay, shoulders relaxed, keys over your right arm. Some of us, pull your belly in, your arm can go outside the thigh, but that rounds me, so be easy, careful there. Okay, couple more breaths. Okay, big inhale, slowly release in our second side. This is usually considered deepest spinal twist in a lot of practices. Okay, left heel outside, right arm up. There it is. That good old deep twist. You could always lay on your back and twist, right? Try to gaze to the back shoulder to involve the neck. Relax those shoulders a little bit. Lift the sternum up, so the front, middle, upper chest. Relax a little bit too, yogis. Okay, no rush. We're going to slowly meet in seated position. As you can see, we've entered into the hips. So we did hip flexor. So I really wouldn't suggest doing restorative bridge now because we did that, I would suggest we want to get the quad. It's not the easiest thing to stretch in gentle yoga. Sometimes you have to lay on your side and go like this, or on your chest and go like this, okay? But the way we stretch our quad, guys, the front of the thigh is by bending the knee deep. If we don't do that, we're not going to stretch the muscles because it's knee straightener muscle. So in yoga, we do this seated form, but I know that can be a lot for people. So I just showed some easier variations, but I'll give further instruction here. We lean to the left, top of the right foot swings around the knee bends. I untuck the calf, my knees go closer together. I gotta try to get my right sit bone down. So it started by butterfly going forward. Then it was kind of sit up and twist, and now it's the back bend, okay? So it's that whole kind of same thing, the sequence, the knees together, sit bones down. Go ahead. Biggest front body stretch of class, going back. Some of us are doing different variations. A few more breaths, no matter your variation, all right? If the knee hurts, that's where we got to show extra caution. The ankle hurts, you got to kind of try to breathe through it and maybe just sit on a block or something. The knee, if there's sharp pain in the knee, you might want to start adding foam rolling through your calf and your shin, your hamstring, and your thigh. You got to start releasing some of those muscles that are causing a lot of connective tissue tension in the knee. All right. Starting on your side is probably your easiest bet, reaching back with the top hand. Okay. Now, big inhale. Won't make it hold too long, guys. We'll sit up and we'll shake it out. Some of these are on the back. You kind of neutralize there. That's a good posture to kind of, shake out a little extra here and seated. Okay, and we're just going to simply do our second side, maybe just about a minute on each side today. Left sit bone's got to try to get down. So I'm not actually sitting on the heel, yogis. Okay, so a lot of times you see people like half on their heel, and it's more just right outside my hip. All right, and then I try to keep my body nice and neutral as I go back. I don't let my knees splay out wide or lift. I try to keep the knee in next to the right and on the floor more. Okay. Another good 30, 45 seconds, please. Now, please take your time, right? You're kind of on your own there. You're going to release that. And we already touched our toes, but if you wanted to go there, that's fine. Eventually you're going to round your spine and meet on the back here. Just kind of shake it out. So guys, we have time for a few more postures, depending on what your body's telling you. I'm going to kind of give you a few options from here on out. So I'm going to just mention some stuff. If you want to throw your legs up for a 5-minute hold, that's good. Okay. Maybe starting in happy baby, kind of grabbing the ankles, widening, bending, shifting. Any of that is really nice here, guys. Okay. Just kind of rolling out your ankles. Something we didn't do that might be a crowd favorite here could be like a thread the needle position. I'm going to keep moving though. You just kind of do your thing. All right. I'm encouraging some extra free practice. We got, 8 people left and you're all very regular attendees. So a little bit more kind of just suggested. Okay. You could always take one more twist, even though we just came from a twist. Or from here, remember this version, left foot down, knees not right, right foot on outer left knee. That's a really nice one. Maybe none of that's calling to you and you want to just pop up in the bridge quick. Get a little bit more of your back body strengthening. Maybe you feel like you don't want to do any of that. So if you're doing something, do your second side now, right? You got more time. I'm just reminding you. So bridge, we can do a little core, opposite arm and leg as I keep my lower back down. You can even curl my upper body a little bit. Okay. You can do a little something like this for core. Lower back down though, keep it out of the hip flexors. Some restorative versions in the end here include that supported bridge, head, traction, and massage.
So if you feel like you need a little bit more strength, you do bridge and core. If you feel like you need a little bit deeper stretch, you do figure 4, maybe medial. If you feel like you need a little bit more restorative bridge, or knees knocked together and neck traction, or if your legs are achy, maybe you throw them up in the air. So I got about 2 minutes left, 2 to 3 minutes, 9:52 right now. So all those mentioned things, I want you to practice doing something you wanted to do that you wish we did. You could even come up and just do like a pigeon stretch, right? Or a headstand. What is your body calling for? I want you to practice that. That in itself is something we need to work on developing, okay? So I got to give you time. So, you're doing your last thing, and as I'm suggesting is kind of to close up your physical practice, like whatever that means to you today. It can be stuff from your own routine too, right? Like anything. It can be laying and breathing. We've done breath holds in the end of class. We've done Kapalabhati. We've done the Yagoda, full body contractions and release. We've done some eye exercises. A lot of different ways to close out practice, okay? But regardless what you're doing now, we're all going to take that closing meditation in 2 minutes. So you have time for that still. Last 2 minutes, physical practice, closing meditation then. All right, guys, let's start to think about it. Closing meditation. We still got a little bit of time, 30 seconds or so, but let's respect that final calming of our nervous system and body. We started quite active, standing and moving. A little bit extra unwinding here, 5 minutes. You're welcome to throw your legs up the wall and stuff, but some days you just want to really have no stimulating. You want to really just let the body rest here. Okay, so you get comfortable, you shake it out. Maybe take a deep inhale and hold the breath. On the side out. Close your eyes, relax your abdomen, your face. So you really feel your tongue and jaw release on a more subtle level. And your eyeballs all kind of relax, and the muscles of your forehead and cheeks. You just let your bones get heavy. You melt into the floor for our final closing conscious relaxation meditation.